Hello, my name is Jaymes Dec. I'm the founding director of innovation at the Franklin School, a new high school opening this September in Jersey City, New Jersey. I am also an adjunct professor in creative technology at Teachers College in New York City. For the last 10 years, I have been teaching children and adults how to use technology tools and materials for creativity and invention. Today, I'm going to share some of the collaborative projects that I've worked on with other educators and students. My aim is to share some examples of developing creative confidence in others and to share a few approaches to design thinking and innovative teaching practices. The first project that I will share introduces a series of pop-up makerspaces that I opened with a small team of like-minded technologists and educators in Brooklyn, New York. Let's start by watching this short video that explains that project.
In September 2010, a study found that American students were falling behind in science, technology, engineering, and math. Lacking these skills, how will today's children solve tomorrow's problems?
The White House found that while STEM education was not performing well, we also need to inspire kids to enter these fields.
The Maker Movement is a technology-based DIY community focused on innovation, applying existing technologies in creative new ways. In New York City, a team of educators and makers have come together to create a learning lab to introduce these ideas to young students.
Having spaces like the Makery is really important, especially in New York City, where kids don't have garages or basements to really tinker and play with tools.
You never learn something in an abstract. So why is it that today you studied the Pythagorean theorem? What was the point of that?
When a child does a project at the Makery, they get inspired because they're able to actually take an idea that they've conceived in their imagination and actually see it executed.
Today, the kids will play video games that they program themselves using joysticks that they built themselves. All right, guys. Now we're going to take the other ends of each of those wires and we're going to connect them to our Arduino microcontroller.
You're just going to put it in and we're going to control the lighting from the computer.
And that'll tell the character what to do. But on the Arduino, you can move it around with it.
We're learning how to use Tinkercad, so it's a 3D CAD software program. It's got a bunch of quests built into it so the kids can sort of learn to use the tools just by accomplishing these different missions in the software.
Having them explore their own creativity and their own personal expression through technology, those are the kinds of things that we like to see.
I want kids to come home after this and realize that I can make anything I want.
Literally the light bulb and the light and the smile, the aha moment, then creates different energy and a different reason for why you want to learn.
The best parts, I think, are when I show them how to use a tool and then they just take it and start exploring with it and take it to places that I didn't even imagine.
2, 1.
We want to take this concept and bring it all over the city. So, go from place to place and just pop up in a community and say to the kids around in the community, hey, come on in, learn how to make stuff, see how fun this is. The real hope is that someday the Makery will have its own home and everyone from New York City can come and learn how to make stuff. We started the NYC Makery with the aim to introduce creative technology tools to communities that might not have access or even realize that these tools existed and how simple, powerful, and fun they can be to use. By leading with materials and tools for creative expression, we invited children to learn through play, experimentation, and exploration. Through this project, we opened a series of pop-up maker spaces in locations as diverse as office buildings, art galleries, delicatessens, warehouses, storefronts, and even an elevator shaft. Through these whimsical and creative venues, we were able to introduce hundreds of children to creative technology tools outside of the traditional environment of their schools. Another major effort of my career as an educator has been inspiring other teachers to use creative technology tools. By coaching teachers through the creative design and making process, I am able to develop their creative confidence to help students with these sorts of projects in their own classrooms. So I've been organizing professional development workshops and hackathons that bring together educators with engineers, artists, scientists, and creative technologists. One well-documented example was an event called Hacking the Life Sciences. I worked with the Rockefeller University Science Outreach Program to bring together biologists, bioengineers, artists, and educators. We introduced this diverse audience to a bunch of technology tools and encouraged them to collaboratively tinker, play, and develop creative technology projects that explored the life sciences. This brief video will give you a sense of the type of projects that they worked on.
Care to jump in?
Yeah.
Oh, good. We've got another volunteer here.
Yeah.
So you are on channel 1.
Okay.
And that's it. A little bit farther away. See if you can bring that down to a C. Keep going. Or hold the E, either one. Yeah, bring it down to a C. Okay. All right. I'm on the G. Or somebody's on the G.
Oh, we gotta plug it in.
Uh-oh, battery.
I think I'm holding it.
Here we go. Oh, beautiful.
My name is Lavon Hunter, and I'm a middle school teacher in the South Bronx.
I'm Jaymes Dec. I'm a technology teacher at the Marymount School of New York.
My name is Sebastian Kravis. I'm the co-founder of Amplius.
My name is Melissa Lee, and I manage the Harlem DNA Lab.
I'm Ellen Jorgensen. I'm a molecular biologist.
My name is Stephanie. I'm a graduate student at Rockefeller University.
I'm DeSanne Davis. I'm a science teacher at Hunter College High School.
My name is Beth Waters. I'm the lead scientist here in the Science Outreach Lab at Rockefeller.
I'm Jeannie Garbarino. I'm the Director of Science Outreach here at the Rockefeller University. And the goal of today's hackathon is to basically bring together people who have an interest in changing the face of life science education and make it more creative. And so we want scientists to talk with educators, to talk with technologists, to talk with fabricators or designers or artists. And we think that everybody has something to add to the conversation, and we want everybody to have an equal platform. And so we're trying to make a day that will give people the opportunity to interact and the opportunity to share their ideas with the hopes that maybe a spark will ignite some great project or maybe some small project that could make a large or small difference in the classroom setting.
My grandmother was one of the strongest influences. When I was about 9 or 10, she got me a book about Darwin's voyage around the world on the Beagle when he was in his early 20s and started to incubate the theory of evolution. And I got really excited about evolution, about how genetic changes have shaped life on Earth and how everything's encoded by DNA.
You can see when he's relaxed or when he's excited about what he's thinking about.
Now I'm happy because I'm on camera.
We live in a world where, every day we're making more and more discoveries, and the world is so dynamic, and science is the tool that you can use to uncover that dynamicism.
I knew that I had to give my students a lab experience and not a textbook experience. So that's what I struggle to do every day, to make it real for them.
We'd be able to see really with the data what a circadian rhythm is.
So I had a little baby sister who was consuming a lot of diapers. So I basically did a diaper experiment, trying to figure out what diapers absorb the most water. And we had to present all our projects in 7th grade, and I was asked to be part of a Bronx Borough Science Fair, which I thought I just didn't expect it, because teachers saw something in me that maybe I didn't see in myself.
I just basically swim around in a circle.
You look at it and you know that nobody else in the world knows what you know for a given moment. You're holding this data in your hand and you've discovered something that no one else knows, and you're the first. And that's very addictive. Even though most of the time when you try to do something it fails, it's that reward that keeps you going.
You are the teachers that are making a difference, and I wish I had a teacher like you when I was a kid.
By bringing together a group with such diverse backgrounds, we were able to dismantle the silos around a typical life sciences class project. Science, math, language, history, these school subjects do not exist in isolation in the real world. So why should we separate them in schools? I truly believe that the most exciting projects and the richest learning experiences come at the intersection of these subjects with design, art, and self-expression. The Nerdy Derby began as a miniature car design and racing competition. Originally, it was a student project from the Interactive Telecommunications program at NYU. The track was designed as an experience for the 2012 World Maker Faire in New York City. This short video will serve as an introduction to that project. The original track is 50 feet long and 8 feet tall. It was designed on a computer and cut out on a large CNC machine. It can be assembled in an hour. The track and experience was inspired by the Boy Scouts Pinewood Derby, but the competition has far fewer rules and restrictions. In 2013, I asked the students who designed the track to set it up in our school cafeteria for 1 week. I convinced the school to cancel regular classes, and we organized the first week-long Nerdy Derby experience for 40 12-year-old students. I worked closely with the science teachers at the school to design a series of experiments and exploratory activities that introduce students to some of the physical forces and variables that might affect the speed of a vehicle on the track. They did experiments to measure the coefficient of friction for various materials, and then they measured how mass affects the inertia of a ball rolling down a ramp. Next, they tested the effects of surface area on aerodynamics by designing parachutes and dropping them from the top of the classroom. After these activities, pairs of students spent 2 full days prototyping, testing, and improving their own vehicles to compete in competitions for the fastest car, the slowest car, and the queen of the hill, the car that can most consistently stop at the top of the hill on the track. It was this rapid design cycle of imagining, prototyping, testing, and iteration that led students into a focused state of enjoyment and learning. On the final day, we held the exciting Derby races with their peers, their school teachers, and administration in the audience. We found that students were completely engaged with the project because they were personally passionate about the performance of their vehicles. When students have clear goals, immediate feedback, and the challenge matches their skills, they enter a state of flow that is especially conducive to growth and learning. After the last few years of working in classrooms, it has been especially exciting to witness the success of students as they go on to launch projects that are truly inspiring. I will end this presentation by sharing two projects that were recently launched by some past students. Girls Stampede was created by Calliope, a senior at the Marymount School of New York. Girls Stampede is a website that celebrates the importance of role models to help further engage girls in science, technology, engineering, and math. Her goals are to dismantle the harmful stereotypes surrounding women in STEM fields, to amplify the voices of successful, remarkable, and inspiring women in STEM, and to increase STEM participation amongst girls. Calliope interviews professional women working in STEM fields and runs many social media channels that share these interviews. Calliope was really inspired by her experiences with amateur paleontology and the joy of discovery. She realized a lack of female representation in the sciences and decided to do something about it. In the fall, she will be continuing her passion for discovery as a freshman at Brown University. This picture was taken 10 years ago. This second grade student, Mariella, in the yellow necklace, is demonstrating her first coding project, a color-coded light that indicates if she is accepting visitors into her bedroom. If the light is green, anyone can come in. If the light is red, she would rather be left alone. Mariella is now a senior in high school. During the pandemic, she started to learn American Sign Language. As she started learning more about deaf culture and meeting more people in the deaf community, she learned that 80% of deaf children struggle to keep up with the speed of text closed captioning on movies. She ran focus groups and interviewed many deaf people. In response to her findings, she developed a Google Chrome extension that overlays sign language captioning over Disney Plus movies. She raised money by walking dogs and then started a GoFundMe campaign that has raised over $10,000 to pay deaf interpreters to make captioning videos. She started a company called Sign Up Captions that has translated 24 videos on Disney Plus, with plans to launch in Canada, Australia, the UK, India, and Pakistan. It turns out that there are more than 300 types of sign language worldwide. I'm really impressed with her focus on learning about the needs of the users of Sign Up Captions. Mariella is working on an extension for Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, and she just signed a contract with PBS Kids. Sign Up Captions now has over 10,000 active weekly users. Mariella just got accepted to Stanford University and hopes to study at the intersection of technology, service, and entrepreneurship. Mariella attributes much of her creativity to working on maker projects like the Nerdy Derby in primary and middle school. She recently told me that being a maker involves thinking about how you can incorporate different aspects of science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics into a project. It's so inspiring to hear from students like Calliope and Mariella. They prove that when we empower students with the tools, materials, and creative design processes, they can truly innovate and make the world a better place for all. Thank you to Ji-Sun Lee and the KDS Spring International Conference for inviting me, and I hope that you enjoyed this presentation.